Hello everybody, I am Vijay Kumar Kashyap, PhD Physics from KB number 1, Agra. Today I am going to discuss the following topics of magnetism and matter. Number 1, bar magnet as an equivalent solenoid. Number 2, magnetic lines of force and their properties. Third, Earth's magnetic field and magnetic elements. Fourth, dia, para and ferromagnetic substances, their properties with example. Number 5th, electromagnets and factors affecting their strength. And the last but not the least, that is permanent magnet. Now we have to start the first topic, that is current solenoid as a magnetic dipole or bar magnet. A current carrying solenoid behave as a bar magnet which may supposed to be placed along the axis of the solenoid having magnetic dipole moment in the same direction given by right hand rule or screw rule. The dipole moment of the solenoid is given by M equal to I into A, where capital M is the magnetic dipole moment, I is the current and A is the area. And the dipole moment is a vector quantity and its unit is ampere meter square. Now you see there is a diagram. If the direction of the current passes through the solenoid at one end is clockwise, then this end treated or behave as a south pole. And if the direction is anti-clockwise, then this end acts as a north pole. So in this way we can find the direction as well as the magnetic dipole moment of a current solenoid. Now the next topic is magnetic lines of force. The imaginary lines which continuously represent the direction of magnetic field are called magnetic lines of force. Now there are certain properties of magnetic lines of force. The magnetic lines of force form a closed loop, but we see in case of electric lines of force, they start from the positive charge and end at the negative one. But in case of a magnetic lines of force, they form a closed loop. Outside the magnet, they runs from north pole to the south pole, while inside the magnet, they runs from south pole to the north pole. Then the next is the tangent at any point to the magnetic lines of force gives the direction of magnetic field at that point. Third, two magnetic lines of force never intersect each other. If they intersect each other at the point of intersection, there are two tangents. It means there are two directions of the magnetic field at the same point, which is not possible. Next, at the points where the magnetic lines of force are more crowded or more dense, the magnetic field is stronger and that will be maximum at poles. And next, whereas points where these lines are very less crowded, at these the magnetic field is weaker. And in the last, in uniform magnetic field, the field lines are parallel and equidistant. Now you see here there are two diagrams. In the first diagram, we represent there is an intersection of two magnetic lines of force. We draw the two tangents, then there are two directions of the magnetic field, practically not possible. Now you see second one you see there are two poles, one is the north pole and second one is the south pole. And you see the outside the magnet they start from the north pole and moving towards the south pole. Now one more property, that is there is no existence of monopole. If we cut into a two or more pieces, again we obtain a different magnet. So this is all about magnetic lines of force. Next, before starting the earth magnetism, here there are some definitions. Terrestrial magnetism. Number one, geographic axis is a straight line passing through the geographical poles of the earth. It is the axis of rotation of the earth and it is also known as polar axis. Geographic meridian at any place is a vertical plane through the geographic north and south poles of the earth. Geographic equator is a great circle on the surface of the earth in a plane perpendicular to the geographic axis. All the points on the geographic equator are equal distance from the geographic poles, that is North Pole and South Pole. Next, magnetic axis is a straight line passing through the magnetic poles of the earth. It is inclined to the geographic axis, is nearly at an angle of 17 degree, approximately 17 degree. Next, magnetic meridian at any place is a vertical plane passing through the magnetic north and south poles of the earth. Next, magnetic equator is a circle on the surface of the earth in a plane perpendicular to the magnetic axis. All the points on the magnetic equator are equal distance from the magnetic poles. Now, the next is, what are the different causes of Earth's magnetism? We all know Earth behaves like a magnet. There are certain causes of this one, but the most important is the dynamo effect. In dynamo effect, the outer core of the Earth has molten iron and other heavy elements in liquid form. The inner core solidifies under the influence of the gravity of Earth. Therefore, the motion of the metallic fluids in the outer core of the Earth causes an electric current. Thus, the Earth gets its own magnetic field lines. And the second theory is ionization of outer layers. This theory tells that the rotation of the Earth in its own axis produces a strong electric current due to the ionization of the outer layer of Earth. This produces magnetism due to the movement of the ions. However, the magnetic field will be very weak. Now, in the last, the cause of Earth magnetism is due to the circulating ions that are highly conducting in the core of the Earth, which results in the formation of current loops. These loops are the reason behind the formation of the magnetic field. Now, next, there are three magnetic elements of Earth which determine the Earth's magnetic field completely. These are declination angle, number two, dip angle or angle of dip, and the third one is the horizontal component. You see there is a diagram in which different axes meridians are given. Now you see the diagonal of the rectangle represents the total magnetic field, Earth magnetic field. There are two components of this one. One is BH, that is the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field. Second one is a vertical component, that is BV. Now the first magnetic element is declination. The angle between the magnetic meridian and geographic meridian at a place is declination angle at that place. It varies from place to place. It means it has different varies at different places or different cities. Now, next is dip or inclination. The angle between the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field, that is BH, and the Earth's resultant magnetic field at a place is dip or inclination at that place. It is denoted by delta, and it is 0 at the equator and 90 degree at the poles. It means if a person is moving from equator to pole, the dip angle will vary from 0 degree to 90 degree. Now the third one is horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field. That is nothing. The total intensity of the Earth's magnetic field does not lie in the horizontal plane. Instead, it lies along the direction at an angle of delta, that is called dip angle, to the horizontal. So there are two components of this one. Rectangular component, the angle along with the component along with the angle will be BH equal to B cos delta. Vertical component BV equal to B sin delta. And with the help of these two, we can calculate Earth's magnetic field completely. Completely means we can find the magnitude as well as direction. When we squaring and adding equation BH and BV, then we get B equal to under root of BH square plus BV square. And one more, when we divide equation second by first, we get tan delta. Tan delta equal to sine upon cos, that is tan delta. So with the help of these two, we can solve the different numericals. Now the next, that is the most important of this one. Yes, now the next topic is different types of magnetic materials. On the basis of their magnetic property, the magnetic materials are classified into three categories, namely diamagnetic, paramagnetic, and ferromagnetic. Before we have to compare these three, we have to discuss some points about diamagnetic, paramagnetic, and ferromagnetic. Diamagnetic elements do not possess unpaired electrons. That's why their net magnetic dipole moment is zero. And when they are placed in a magnetizing field, they are favorably magnetized in a direction opposite to the field. Paramagnetic. Paramagnetic possesses some unpaired electrons, but they are randomly in motion. That's why the net magnetic dipole moment is zero. When they are placed in a magnetizing field, they are favorably magnetized in a direction of the magnetizing field. Number 3. Ferromagnetic. Ferromagnetic consists of large number of unpaired electrons. Here we use the domain theory. Domain theory means it consists of large number, very large number of magnetic dipole moments. So we use a domain. Domain consists of large number of dipole moments. And in one group, in one domain, the magnetic dipoles are aligned in the same direction, but in different domains they are aligned in a different direction. When the intensity increases, then the alignment is also increased in the same direction. So in dia and para, the properties are just opposite. But in case of a para and ferro, the properties are almost same, but their intensity are different. In case of a para, value or intensity is less. In case of a ferro, same direction, same other things are also same, but the intensity will be large. Now we have to compare the properties of these three elements. That is the most important topic of this one. That is diamagnetic, paramagnetic, and ferromagnetic. First one is just nothing but the definition. Diamagnetic substances are those substances which are favorably repelled by a magnet. Some examples are given: antimony, bismuth. You may remember 2 or 3 examples. Paramagnetic, same but favorably attracted by a magnet. In ferro, they are strongly attracted by a magnet. Second property, when placed in a magnetic field, the line of force tend to avoid the substance. Substance means they are moving away from this one. And there is some example of a diamagnetic that is known as superconductor, in which no magnetic lines of force passes through the material. But in case of a paramagnetic, they are attracted this one, so few lines passes through the magnetic substance. But you see, in third case, that is a ferro, when we compare para and ferro, the intensity or the number of magnetic lines force are different, but the characteristic is same. Now the third property, when placed in a that is the important one, when placed in a non-uniform magnetic field, it moves. ये आपको याद रखना है. That is from stronger to weaker field, that is favorably repulsion होता है. Second case में, when placed para में, when placed in a non-uniform magnetic field, it moves from weaker to stronger. That is favorable attraction होगा. Ferro, when we compare para and ferro, we get the same. Non-uniform में, it moves from weaker to stronger field, that is strong attraction. Now the fourth property, when a diamagnetic rod is, that is also important, when a diamagnetic rod is freely suspended in a uniform magnetic field, it aligns, ये हमें याद रखना है, aligns in a direction perpendicular to the field. In second case में सेम नहीं आएगा, उसमें क्या है, तो परपेंडिकुलर अलाइन इन द सेम आएगा. बस ये हमें याद रखना, बाकी लैंग्वेज सेम हो गए. इट अलाइंस इटसेल्फ इन द डायरेक्शन पैरेलल टू द फील्ड. थर्ड में सेम है, इट अलाइंस इटसेल्फ इन अ डायरेक्शन पैरेलल टू द फील्ड वेरी क्विकली मीन्स इमीडिएटली हो जाता है. नेक्स्ट प्रॉपर्टी, एंड दीज आर ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, Next is when a diamagnetic substance is placed in a magnetic field, it weakly magnetizes in a direction opposite to the inducing field. यानी जिस डायरेक्शन में हम फील्ड लगाएंगे उसके अपोजिटली वो मैग्नेटाइज होगा. सेकेंड में हमें याद करना है पैरा में क्या होगा कि सेम डायरेक्शन में होगा बट विविबली होगा. एंड थर्ड वन इन द सेम डायरेक्शन एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग मैग्नेटाइज होगा. तो तीनों में जब भी हमें प्रॉपर्टीज़ को याद रखना है, पैरा और डाया में जो अंतर है दे आर जस्ट अपोजिट. फेवेबली रिपेल, फेवेबली अट्रैक्ट, फेवेबली मैग्नेटाइज, फेवेबली मैग्नेटाइज इन द सेम डायरेक्शन. व्हेन वी कंपेयर पैरा एंड फेरो, उसमें केवल क्या है, इंटेंसिटी का डिफरेंस है. नेक्स्ट, इंड्यूस्ड डायपोल मोमेंट हैज़ स्मॉल नेगेटिव वैल्यू. एंड ये हमें याद रखना है फॉर 1 मार्क क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि अभी जो हमारे फर्स्ट टर्म के एग्जाम होने हैं दैट कंसिस्ट ऑफ ओनली MCQ. नेक्स्ट, पैरा में पॉजिटिव होगा, स्मॉल वाली होगी, एंड इन केस ऑफ अ फेरो लार्ज पॉजिटिव वैल्यू. Intensity of magnetization has a small negative value in case of diamagnetic substances. For para, it is a small positive. For ferro, it is large positive. Next, ये भी important है, हमें याद रखना है. इसमें there is a formula 1 plus Im से निकालते हैं, पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव से होगा. Magnetic permeability is always less than 1. वहाँ slightly, in case of a para, slightly more than 1, and in case of a ferromagnetic, the magnetic permeability has large positive value or much more than unity. Suppose the question is the magnetic permeability of a substance is 0.986. Identify this and mention its 2 characteristic or properties. अगर हमने आइडेंटिफाई गलत किया तो उसकी प्रॉपर्टीज़ भी हम गलत लिखेंगे. इसलिए आइडेंटिफिकेशन के लिए ये टेबल मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये हमें याद रखना है इसमें. नेक्स्ट जो आएगा हमारा, देयर आर 2 मोर प्रॉपर्टीज. मैग्नेटिक ससेप्टिबिलिटी. इन केस ऑफ अ डायमैग्नेटिक स्मॉल नेगेटिव वैल्यू, पॉजिटिव फॉर पैरामैग्नेटिक स्मॉल, फॉर फेरो large positive value. So these are the most important characteristic 9, and the last but not the least, the diamagnetic substances do not obey Curie's law. वो हम लोग आगे डिस्कस करेंगे. It means the properties are independent of temperature. Next, they obey Curie's law. Paramagnetic, they lose their magnetic properties with rise in temperature. It means it is inversely proportional. Next में they are slightly changed. They obey Curie's Wies law, WEISS, above Curie temperature. वो आएगा हमारा. So these are the 10 important properties of a dia, para and ferro. एक बार फिर समझ लीजिएगा, उसमें ऐसी कोई चीज़ नहीं है जो हम नहीं कर सकते. नंबर 1 उसमें हमें ध्यान रखना है कि फेवेबली रिपेल, फेवेबली अट्रैक्ट और स्ट्रांगली अट्रैक्ट. याद करने का सबसे आसान तरीका है कि डाया और पैरा जस्ट अपोजिट है, पैरा और फेरो सेम है, लेकिन उनकी इंटेंसिटी डिफरेंट है. बस इसके अलावा और कुछ नहीं है. यू मस्ट रिमेंबर ऑल दीज 10 प्रॉपर्टीज and you will get at least 1 or 2 questions from this one. Now the next is Curie's law. We have already discussed this one. Magnetic susceptibility of a paramagnetic materials is inversely proportional to its absolute temperature. There is a diagram is also given. There is a graph between I and H upon T, and we get psi m, that is the magnetic susceptibility, equal to C upon T, where C is a Curie constant. Its value is also given here. And the next topic is, that is also important, hysteresis loop or magnetization curve. Actually, the magnetization curve is for soft iron and the steel. One is used for making electromagnet, and second one is used for making permanent magnet. And the difference between these 2 curves is, in case of a soft iron, the curve will be a thin one, and in case of a steel or permanent magnet के लिए हम use करेंगे, that will be a thick one. And there is a graphical representation, that is nothing but the magnetization and demagnetization. There is a process. किसी चीज़ को हम मैग्नेटाइज कर रहे हैं, मैग्नेटाइज के बाद उसको हम क्या कर रहे हैं, डीमैग्नेटाइज कर रहे हैं. देन देयर इज अ कंप्लीट प्रोसेस, एंड इन दिस प्रोसेस देयर इज अ लॉस ऑफ एनर्जी, दैट इज नोन एज हिस्टेरेसिस लॉ. And in this one, you see there are two more important definition. One is the retentivity and second one is coercivity. First, you see the graph, and there is a graph between B and H. And graph represent the magnetization increases with increasing the magnetizing field initially through OA. You see in the diagram, and there is a curve from O to A, means increases I increases with increasing H, and it becomes maximum when we remove the magnetizing field. You see, when H equal to 0, I is not equal to 0. एंड दैट ओ बी इज कॉल्ड, मेन हमें कर्व की स्टडी को ढंग से करना है, इज कॉल्ड रिटेंटिविटी. उसकी डेफिनेशन बाद में दी है. व्हेन एच इज डिक्रीज आई इज डिक्रीजेज बट इट डज नॉट कम्स टू जीरो एट एच इक्वल टू जीरो. यानी एक्स एक्सिस को अगर हम जीरो कर रहे हैं एच को, तो हमारा वाई एक्सिस पर जो आई है वो ज़ीरो नहीं हो रहा. जो ओ बी है दैट रिप्रेजेंट द रिटेंटिविटी. नाउ वी हैव टू रिड्यूस दिस फील्ड टू ज़ीरो. इट मीन्स वी हैव टू अप्लाई अ फील्ड इन अपोजिट डायरेक्शन. अगर अपोजिट में हमें लगाना है तो उसके लिए जितनी फील्ड हमें लगानी पड़ेगी दैट इज़ नोन एज कोएर्सिविटी. सो दीज आर द टू इम्पॉर्टेंट डेफिनेशन. वन इज द रिटेंटिविटी. Retentivity, the value of the magnetic field intensity retained by the magnetic substance when magnetizing field is reduced to zero is called retentivity. That is represented by OB in this graph. Second is coercivity, the value of the reverse magnetizing field. Reverse means opposite direction. To reduce the residual, residual means retentivity to of magnetization of sample to zero is called coercivity, and it is represented by OC in this diagram. After reaching the saturation level D, when the magnetizing field is reversed, the curve closes to the point A, completing a cycle. The loop A, B, C, D, E, F, A is called hysteresis loop. And the area of this one represents the energy loss. And the last is electromagnet. It is a magnet whose magnetism is due to current flowing through a coil bound over a soft iron. The material used for making electromagnet must possess these three characteristics you must remember. Number one, high retentivity. Second, high permeability but low coercivity. So these are the three characteristics of the material used for making electromagnet or temporary magnet. And the strength of the temporary electromagnet depends upon the current passing through this one, number of turns and the magnetic material के जो substance use करेंगे उसकी characteristic पर depend करेगा. Second one is permanent magnet. Permanent, it is the magnet which owes its strength due to the alignment of its molecule. The material used for making permanent magnet must possesses high retentivity and high coercivity. That also possesses high permeability. For example, steel and alnico. So in this way we have already discussed all these topics, and these topics are very important for this one. Thank you.